Hello, and we're back. I see some people already in the chat. Hello, hello. Today, we have a bit of a different video. First of all, if you're interested in the music, that's actually my band from a few years ago. Unfortunately, we're no longer together because I don't live in the same country, but if you're interested, you can look me up on Spotify, of course. Today, we're talking about Warhammer, and we're talking about a tournament that I'm running, which is called Release the Beast 7. Survive the Cold. So yes, there have been 7 of these now, and actually running these is probably one of the favorite things in my life in recent years. I've absolutely loved running these, and I know this video is not going to be for everyone because of course this is going out on my main channel. You know, lots of people listen for, you know, I guess more lighthearted content than me reading a bunch of lists, but yeah, if you want to get an idea of what the meta is right out of the gate, we just entered this GHB. What is the meta going to look like? This is like the perfect video, right? Because we're going to go through what some of the top tournament players of the world are playing at the moment, and what they think that the meta is doing, okay? So that's going to be the focus today. I'll just give a brief introduction on what the tournament is so that you have some context. So first of all, it's a tabletop simulator tournament. So we play online, sometimes on a million ping. Of course, there are problems with this. We'd all love to play in real life together and be able to teleport between, you know, Germany to the Philippines to Africa and US and stuff. But unfortunately, until Nikola Tesla is reincarnated and we can figure out teleportation technology, it's not going to happen. So, what we need is an online way to do it, and Tabletop Simulator is a not perfect, but relatively good solution to this. So it's Tabletop Simulator, and it's a team tournament. Okay, so we still compete one-on-one, but our results contribute to an overall team. So basically, you're going to have 6 people in a team, and you're going to get matched up through this pairings process, and your score is going to contribute to the overall team score. That's how it's going to work, okay? For those who aren't familiar with Teams Warhammer. So it's a team tournament, 6 people in the new GHB, and it starts on the 17th, which is tomorrow. So for people who are in the tournament and for people who are interested in the drama, we are going to be doing the draw at the end of the show. Okay? Yeah, so I know you're all waiting forward to that, but let's see what the lists are going to be, and then we're going to do the draw, and then we can all dive into the trash talking chat and absolutely brawl it out. I'm looking forward to that. That's like my favorite part of this tournament, is the trash talking chat. I think it's tremendous. So many great things have come from that. If you were into the Spanish trash talk on Twitter for Worlds, you got to understand that there's a whole backstory of my mate Eduard doing that for like a year and a half of just tremendous trash talking on this server. And if you're interested in it, I highly recommend checking it out, even just for the spectacle. So, yes, so Release the Beast, Survive the Cold, 6-person team tournament. What do I want to say here? There's 5 rounds, and they're like 10 days long, so you get quite a bit of time to play your game, but you need to be doing your matchups in the first 48 hours, or else they will end up being randomized. Yeah, I'm not going to explain all of this, but just we have some army build requirements, and this is normal of a team tournament, where basically you can't repeat the same war scrolls between armies, and same with like command traits and artifacts and stuff, standard stuff. Yeah, and basically what happens is we're going to have 3 maps per round, and what that means is that 2 matches will occur on each of them, so you can see games 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. So 3 maps per round. That's slightly different from the incredibly convoluted and creative map formats that I had in the past, which I understand were maybe a little bit less than practical. I appreciate everyone's patience. I like to have fun, and one of the ways I have fun in running this is experimenting with the format, but I know people want to practice, so I'm happy running this kind of event too. So this is pretty standard. The matchups are pretty standard. But the one thing that I really wanted to touch on was we're using chess clocks for this event. And there are some problems with using chess clocks on TTS, like ping and that kind of thing. But really, my aim is to make Release the Beast as close as I possibly can to a competitive real-life team tournament, okay? So what I'm aiming to get to here is to a place where this can be as competitive as Worlds is, right? Not that that makes it inaccessible for people who aren't, like more on the casual side or more on the hobby side, but I'm saying like, at least there's that depth where you have the really strong players who are at that world's level, and the people who want to become like that. That's where I want to get to with this event, and I think the chess clocks are important to make sure it helps with some competitive integrity stuff, like making sure all the games are played with the same amount of time, but mainly it's just part of my vision for making this like those competitive events. Okay, so enough of the rambling. I don't want to talk about the pack too much more, so we are going to jump into the lists. And there are a lot. So I haven't been able to do this absolutely perfectly with the time I had today, but I tried to get us some meta stats. Okay, so here we go. Here are some faction stats. So the meta looks, I would say, healthier than it has ever been in a way. In the sense that, okay, we have like 25% order, 29% chaos, 22% deaths, and a bit lower with 12% destruction, right? But at least there's fewer order, definitely, than there used to be. But you can see that order has really fallen off a bit. It's mainly this Seraphon, right? That's really carrying order with the 10% meta representation. We have 19 teams at the moment. So if you want to play in the event, I need one team. So I'm Frankensteining a team together. So if you want to be the Frankenstein leg, if you want to be the Frankenstein eyeball, if you want to be the Frankenstein's codpiece, let me know, okay? Because we need to Frankenstein a team together, because I need 20 teams, or one person's going to have a bye, which is not great, okay? So we need to find 20 teams. Please let me know. You can join the Discord. There should be a link in the description. And then PM me or just post on the server, and we'll sort out a team. We have one person already who's generously offered their services. You can play for the whole event. Yeah, but we need 6 more people, or I'm going to be in trouble tomorrow. So please let me know if you want to play. Probably if you're watching this, you're part of the tournament, but if you're not, then please let me know. Okay, so that's order. Seraphon, massive. Chaos. Look, it's a Magic GHB. Chaos is obviously going to be great, but I think Chaos has always had this kind of thing where they're quite elite in the early game, and then they can summon into the late game. So shooting can sometimes be a problem, right, for a lot of Chaos armies. So shooting being, I would say, Omega nerfed is a very good thing for Chaos armies. So that's why there's the higher Chaos representation overall. And then Death, well, we just had some new books. So Ossiarch, Bone Reapers, and Soulblight, and they are insane. Soulblight has just as much representation as Seraphon, okay? With 11 armies out of they could have a possible 19, right? Because you can only have 1 army per team. But still, 11's huge, 10 is huge for Ossiarchs, and Flesh Eater Courts. It only required some very broken rules interactions for us to get 5 players. This one always used to be 0, or the one hero little tank with his Terrorgeist. But I'm glad to see that's 5. And then Destruction, I'd say, like, Auric Warclans has had a bit of a surge with Big War, but and Gitz has been nerfed quite a bit, but the rest of this is pretty similar to what it was. So, let's get into the teams. Now, I do usually do a rating out of 10, and I think I'm gonna do that this time, but please understand that I'm just rating this purely on the lists, okay? So you can go and win the event. You can win an event at Warhammer with lists that I don't think are good, or possibly lists that are not actually good, right? You can still win the Warhammer event. Like, just because someone wins with a list doesn't mean the list is good, and just because someone wins with a list doesn't mean that they are good, okay? That is, unfortunately, the reality of the game we're in. But I'm saying that as a disclaimer because this is my opinion, and I don't want people to get offended by it. I'm just doing this for a little bit of entertainment, as well as giving my opinion on the strength of things. So, first of all, we have Team Onwards. And given that I am a coach for Onwards, I obviously have to give this team a 10 out of 10. No, I'm going to give my honest opinion. Okay? we don't need to do that. Okay? All right. Yes, I have a question in the chat, which is Nighthaunt the only faction to have no players? No, there is Daughters of Cain, and Fireslayers also don't have another faction. So, yes. Yeah. So, alright, let's get into Team Onwards. So, this is Team Onwards. And at the helm, we have Alex Tubb, TTS legend, who's playing his OCR Bone Reapers, okay? And we're in Null Myriad because we're in a spell meta, so you're going to run that. Now, one thing that you have to be careful with Null Myriad, right, which is the 2-up spell ignore, is you do actually have to have some people to give the aura, right? Because OCR Bone Reapers is normally an army where everything is super self-sufficient, but you do need some mortars and heroes to give out the 9-inch 2-up spell ignore aura, basically, from Myriad, okay? So we have Bone Shaper, Ossifactor, and Catacross, and then we have 2 units of Death Riders, 6 of Mortis, and then 1 of each Morghast variant, and the extremely strong Soul Stealer Carrion, which is awesome, especially against, you know, like the Soul Blights of the world that have lots of, you know, a Lone Wound characteristic model that really clog up objectives and stop OBR from scoring. You know, he's got barely any models in his army. It's just really useful to get around that. So really solid. Obviously great list. And I like that there's, you know, kind of some mobility going on here, which is usually a weakness of the army, right? We got, you know, 2 units of Death Riders to go off and do mortal wounds and kill chaff and do battle tactics. We got some kind of like interesting threats with the Arcane Harbinger and then the main Anvil with the Immortus Guard. I like this list. Nice. Okay. Terry Wogan with Soulblight Gravelords. Now, there's going to be a lot of Soulblight lists, but I think it is interesting to talk about them. So, Legion of Night. Okay, what does Legion of Night do? Well, a number of things. First of all, the main thing that it does that's amazing is you can hero phase teleport with a heroic action in both players' turn a vampire, which in this list is going to be a Vampire Lord or Manfred. And, yeah, you can usually cast an endless spell, right? So you could cast Shards of Valagar, or you could cast, you know, some, like, Waste Away or something, some spell, and then you just teleport back in your opponent's turn, okay? Alright. But it's got Manfred, Vampire Lord with Unbending Will, and Warbeck's Claw. Warbeck's Claw +2 to cast for all wizards, which makes it kind of, like, really quite magic dominant. I found playing against it, you know, like, even if you have Primal Dice, sometimes you're not guaranteed to deal with it. Especially if they have a corpse card or something. 4 units of Direwolves. Because dogs. And we have an Incarnate. Yes. Who's obviously tied to Necromancer. And the Necromancer has Rupture to make it go wild. Nice. And then 20 Graveguard and the Shards. I think mainly the Shards are for the Cronspine. So, you know, he becomes this unkillable, endless spell eating thing. Yeah, I think quite strong. I personally maybe prefer Soulblight without the Incarnate, but it's always in teams a big question mark for your opponent to solve in pairings is this thing here. So I definitely understand the argument for taking it in teams. So, yeah. Very much like it. Okay, Mark, running Bloodlords. Okay, there's quite a few Bloodlords list. Bloodletters are good. So, I'm going to fix the formatting as we go, because some of these, it's not actually the persons who submitted at fault. It's sometimes the hyphens just cut off. So we have a Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, and we have Firebrand, Argath, King of Blades, so he's a priest, and then he ignores wards when he's within 3, or turns off wards when he's within 3. And Bloodbind Prayer, so really nice thing you can do here. Hero Phase, move the Unfettered Fury, Bloodbind something towards him, and then you can spend 4 Blood Tithe to fight with Scarbrand, stuff like that. As long as Scarbrand ends up with 3. You can also do stuff like use the Killer Instinct Prayer to move Scarbrand forward 8, and then Bloodbind something into 3 with him, and then he can fight. Okay, stuff like that. There's lots of fun things you can do. But basically this list has 1 unit of 20 Bloodletters as kind of like your Anvil threat, and to use the Bloodlords thing, and then you have the Scarbrand Bellicor or the Unfettered Fury. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so I think personally I probably prefer this in Reapers of Vengeance, but yeah, I can see that wanting to make use of Bloodletters, it's better to go Bloodlords in a way. I just find that with Scarbrand, he kind of really needs Blood Tithe to make himself work, right? That thing where you go in and you hit 1 unit and then you score a bunch of Blood Tithe, and then you can pull something into him and hero phase fight and then fight again, stuff like that. You kind of need the extra Blood Tithe. I'm more of a fan of that, but yeah, of course with the Bloodletters, pretty strong. with the Bloodlords. Okay, so we have Gloomspite Gitz, Jaws of Mork, big surprise. Basically, it's a slightly nerfed version of the old list. What's disappeared? Well, the main thing that's disappeared is the Marshcrawler Sloggoth, so that's gone. But basically, it's still the same list. It's just kind of gone up in points. I still think it's great. Very strong. Of course, this is the list that won the World Singles with, like, one thing taken out. So I don't think it's really gotten that much worse. Like, basically, what gets lost is you have the same list and you add 160 points to it. And then what you do to solve that is you just take the Marshcrawler out. So, is losing +1 to hit on the squeak curve, does that matter? Kind of. But it's not the sky falling, right? They're still really good. So, yes, a difficult thing to deal with. And we have Curtis Shin, Allegiance Seraphon, is running Seraphon. Again, I've got to fix some formatting here. But I think we're going to see a lot of Seraphon lists, so I'll try to cut this decently short as I just fix this. I don't know a heap about Seraphon either, so I'm not going to be super helpful. Yes. I don't know the names of things. All I know is what they do. Yeah, but I think basically just I can't really speak to the names of the command traits and that. Sorry, but I'm going ahead and assume that this is the one where you unbind / cast and you get 2 instead of 1, and then this one is the, like, once per phase you can go within 7 or whatever it was. Anyway, it's some frogs. And then a Star Priest and an Astro Bearer. We have 2 Raptidon charges just for some chaff. 10 Skinks, 5 Saurus Guard, 2 Bastiladons with Arc of Sotek because they went down in points, and a bunch of spells. Yeah, this thing just blasts in the hero phase. It's quite good. Blasting is pretty good. But of course, you know, like we were looking at that Null Myriad thing before. That's a problem. There are problems for it, but it definitely is, again, a big question mark. So, last list here is Skaven. Okay. Again, I gotta fix this, but Skaven, I think I sit down and I write a Skaven list, and I still end up being 10 points over. It's just one of those armies where it's like almost amazing. Like, you sit down and you write the 1, and then you work out the points, and it's like 10 points over. Or you have 1 too many reinforcement points. Or you have an artifact that you need to take, but you can't because you can't fit in the battalion. Yeah, while it's a strong army, it's I'm just going to leave these, and then it's still got its problems. So, this list is interesting because of the bottom. I'm sure you just saw the 3 Warp Lightning Cannons. But basically, it's double Vermin Lord, Engineer Master Molder, and then we have 2 units of Clan Rats, 1 unit of 4 Rat Ogres, and 3 Warp Lightning Cannons, okay? And Warp Lightning Vortex. From my perspective, I maybe would have liked access to Blizzard somewhere in the list, but I understand that, you know, what I was just saying was Skaven. You can't fit everything in. And I understand that one of the main threats here is the Warp Lightning Cannon. I can really see with this team, what they're really trying to do with the team layout is try to provide some questions. You know, you're gonna look at these lists and you go, what am I gonna do about that? And then you go look at the Incarnate. What am I going to do about that? You look at the Gitz with 72 Squeak Herd on the board. What am I going to do about that? You look at Khorne with Scarbrand. Like, these are all lists that have a really strong identity, and that lends itself well in teams. So I think overall, I'd give this team an 8 out of 10. I think it's really solid. Some really big question marks to answer here. I think maybe some tweaks could be made at some points, but definitely the vector of where it's going is awesome, I think. Nice. Okay, next we have the Haggis and Hamburgers, captained by Fabian, who is running Khorne in Reapers of Vengeance. So, Khorne in Reapers of Vengeance. So, this is the sub-faction I was saying before, which is 2 Blood Tithe. Every time an enemy hero is slain, which is nice indeed. Yeah, so, if someone asked in the chat, yeah, this is for the new GHB. Yeah. So, Reapers of Vengeance, 2 Blood Tithe. Okay. Again, the kind of the same layout on the Unfettered Fury. You're going to see this a lot. You know, he becomes a priest. You turn off wards, and you have Bloodbind, right? That's the one. Okay. We have a Bloodmaster with the Hero Phase move, Scar Blood Wrath, Scarbrand. Another Bloodmaster with the Strikes First, and we have Blood Sacrifice. Then we have some absolute heresy. What is this? It's a wizard. What's that doing in there? It's a Khorne army. And it's a wizard. Nah, but... So, I understand though, because the Khorne turn 1 battle tactic is not amazing. Like, usually you have to send something way off to the side to do Surround and Destroy. So having access to Magical Dominance, having access to Mystic Shield and that is nice. It just feels a little bit crap that you have to take a wizard ally, because we're playing Khorne. We don't want to take wizards. We want to hit stuff with sticks. What are we doing with all this tech? But Khorne is a very techy army. I mean, you guys know I played Khorne at Worlds. It's not an army that actually wins by hitting stuff most of the time. Got to play very carefully. So 20 Bloodletters, 10 Blood Reavers, 8 Claws of Karanak, 3 Magor's Fiends. I still think these are kind of auto-include, but they did go up 20 points. And then, yeah, the 5 dudes who are attached to Thedra. And, yeah, two Invocations. I kind of have no notes on this list. I think it's really good. I don't like Bloodletters. Oh, this should be 360. He told me to change that, yeah. I don't like Bloodletters that much, but I understand in the Demon Identity thing. I just prefer 20 Skull Reapers most of the time. But I understand you also have to kind of take a Blood Secretor for that. So the Bloodletters are more points. Efficient way, I guess. Yeah, nice. Okay, forget about it. Allegiance Soul Blight Gravelords. Okay, we are in Legion of Night. And, well, we have Kato Ezekiel. Nice. Manfred again. Nice. Necro Vampire Lord with Blizzard. So, what I really like about this, right, is you can teleport the Vampire Lord in. You can cast Blizzard, do the +2 to cast, throw a bunch of primal dice at it, do some big damage. It's nice. And then we have the old Horde of Crap. And then we have the old Hammer. And then we have a support piece and some more crap. And a 30-point endless spell that's definitely deserving of being 30 points. Now, I haven't really touched on the battalion so much, but I think this battalion is like kind of giga broken. So as soon as I see this, I think my impression of a list goes extremely up, and I think this list is really good. Kato Ezekiel is maybe slightly a pet unit. Slightly. But, he's good. For 140 points, I can see the argument. So, because he's a vampire, you can teleport him, he can get +1 to cast, right? You can also just kind of, like, stick him in the corner and cast Spirit Gale the whole game, and that's a good use of his time, really. So, yeah, I'm a fan. I think probably his plan is stick Kato Ezekiel in a corner and do nothing almost the entire game, and then maybe have, like, a late-game mission, and just sit casting Spirit Gale at +1 in the corner. Spirit Gale is one wound to your opponent's entire army, or 2 if you're all a 9-up. So really good to just cast that every turn. It's kind of just like a little artillery piece at the back. So yeah, solid. Yep, really solid list. Okay, another Bone Reapers list with this time we have Arcan and Catacross and the Bone Shaper. So this is what was going around before, but the points have all gone up, so you can't fit as much. You get 6 Stalkers, 3 Immortus, and 2 5s of Death Riders now. I think it's a little bit immobile. Like, it's definitely kind of sit in the middle sort of army. I know there's the Death Riders, but it's still pretty, like, static. So I think it's solid, but needs to be paired on specific battle plans for sure. Okay, we have the first of the Morgaunt. So we have a Zombie Dragon, a Mariskro Herald, a Ghast Courtier, an Archregent Ghoul King. So this represents summoned 40 Beast Flayers. Then we have 3 units of 10 Ghouls, and then we have another 40 Beast Flayers. So with that, we're going to have 80 Beast Flayers and 30 Ghouls, and then a bunch of heroes. I'm not necessarily a fan of the Zombie Dragon personally, but I understand that with the Beast Flayers getting their reroll to wound is super nice. I think it's a little bit dicey. But yeah, great. With having 80 Beast Flayers, I don't think there's much that can go wrong here. This list is super strong. Yeah, this endless spell in Feck is really good. I wanted to take it on my team, but I think I would have to like wrestle to the ground about 6 people to get it. So I'm not sure I was that interested in doing that. Shout out to my friend Andre in the chat who's saying Zombie Dragon's lit. It's true. Though I'm pretty sure that's more of a Fire Dragon thing. Yeah. Next we're on to Slaves to Darkness by Red Len. So, I think there's only one other of these in the whole event, Slave to Darkness. So, kind of got on the downtick, right? At Worlds, there was heaps of Slaves to Darkness, and even before Worlds, like, there was kind of like a period where it went down. I think the last release of the Beast, there were quite a few less Slaves to Darkness, and now I think we've seen a downtick again, for whatever reason. But the Vanguard is still the list, and it's still really strong. He's added in some Chaos Chariots because they went down in points. I like this list a lot. Bellicor and Vanguard, I think, is just really good. Yeah, nice. Okay, then we have Lumineth. Obviously, Lumineth took some big nerfs in points, and then I think also Primal Dice is an overall nerf to Techless. I don't know if it was intended that way, but that's definitely the case, I think. And this one has an Incarnate, and I think is pretty light on bodies. I think it would have to be paired quite specifically. Yeah, I think there's some points of things to do there, but I have this friend who keeps texting me telling me that like Incarnate Seraphon and Lumineth is broken, so I have multiple people texting me that actually, so maybe this is broken. We're gonna find out. Yeah, nice. I think this team's super solid. I give this team a 7 out of 10. I'm a big fan. Okay, so Chess Clock O'Clock. This is the TTS Legends right here. Okay, so this is Saturn Boy. He made the pairings table, so please give him your love. Thank him. This was like a big deal because I don't like making things on Tabletop Simulator, so someone else making something for me is amazing. And he, of course, being the perfect gentleman that he is running the Flesh Eater Courts. Another absolute legend, okay? So, Morgaunt, Growing Kingdom, and then all the stuff on the Terrorgeist. So, it's similar to the old one, but instead of having, like, the Zombie Dragon, you have a Terrorgeist. By the way, just as an aside, right? I'm just making a public post here that we really should have a new model for this at some point. I mean, yeah, I mean, come on. Look at this. Look at these rocks. Look at these rocks. You literally can't like glue this guy together without the rocks. It's a problem. I like it in a way. I like the aesthetic. When it came out, I thought it was the sickest thing ever. But as time has gone on, it's become a little bit aged. I would like a new model. There's a new fact book coming out. Please give me a new model. Okay, so with that aside, we have I think a really strong list here. We have the Terrorgeist, we have 2 Archregents and a Ghoul King. So you're summoning 50 dudes and 3 Knights, and then you have 80 Ghouls, Gnashing Jaws, and Chalice. Really good. He's got all the battalions, which is exactly what I did as well, because they're all amazing for Feck. I think it's really good. Yeah, no notes. The only thing I would say is, like, I personally would just rather run more Beast Flayers than Ghouls, but yeah, this is kind of a political argument, that one, I think. Yeah. Okay, so next we have Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I'm just going to turn my fan on. For those who don't know, it's like 1,000,000 degrees in Japan in summer, so you're going to hear some background noise, I think, but we're just going to have to deal with it, otherwise I'm going to be fainting halfway through the stream. Yeah, so Blood Moon is running Ossiarch Bone Reapers, another Bone Reapers list, right? And instead of like having Catacross here, you have Arcane the Black, 2 Bone Shapers, 2 6s of Immortus Guard, and 2 5s of Cavalier's Death Raiders. So it's a very symmetrical list, which I like. I think it makes sense on the tabletop. And you have Geminids, which is awesome, and Nightmare Predator. Yeah, I think the only thing I would change personally is just running the 2 Bone Shapers in the Antorian Acolytes Battalion. Because I think having that extra Primal Dice is quite big, especially when you don't run Dark Acolyte, but otherwise super solid. Okay, Skaven, another legend. All right, Macrat is always cooking something, so let's have a look. Okay, so Warbringer, Bombardier, 3 Greyseers, big fan. 3 units of 10 Clan Rats, and then we have, drumroll, Help It, Doomwheel, double Plague Claw, and then a million Endless spells. Now, what does this list do? Well, it does battle tactics with Clan Rats, and then it just starts blasting, okay? Just starts blasting. You're getting shot by Plague Claws, you're getting hit by Horrorghast, you're getting hit by the Maelstrom and the Vortex, okay? Then the Doom Wheels are coming in, they're running you over, and then the Hell Pit's going on and sleeping with your wife in the corner, alright? That's what this list does, alright? This is the yeet and delete, kind of. I guess you're yeeting like rocks with the Plague Claw, okay, stuff like that. But it's not really a brawl in the little middle kind of list, is what I'm saying, right? It's very like find spots where your opponent's left some gaps to put something in from the gnaw holes, teleport a Greyseer in, chuck a Blizzard at them, then cast some other endless spells at them. There's also like projection here, right? And you just have those Clan Rats in the middle to do the battle tactics. I'm a big fan of this. And it doesn't rely on rolling well on Warp Lightning cannons. So, nice. Super solid. Nurgle. And this is Raybear running this, and he absolutely destroys people with Nurgle, and I think he will continue to do so. And we have Lord of Afflictions, who can turn off command points. I mean, we all know what this does at this point, right? I don't think I necessarily need to talk about all this, but I think just mainly the Glotkin thing is something that Ray's been sticking to for ages, and has gone down so many points now, where it's only 600 points, and I do think it's really worth those points now. Yeah, super solid list. I think he will just kind of destroy everyone still. Yeah, nice. This is a really strong team. Caradron Overlords, Mitch is running this in Barak Zon. And we have an Admiral, a Chemist, an Incanter for the Auto Unbind, and then, doing Mystic Shield for Magical Dominance. And then we have 15 Thunderers, 6 Sky Wardens, 6 Guardian Wardens, a Gunhauler, a Storm Strike's Chariot, and a Frigate. Okay. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't have a Navigator, but... yeah, there's some tech going on in this list. I think, Caradron Overlords really have... a difficult question to answer over the next month, which is like, how are they gonna like play the game without running 40 Thunderers? It's a question. And then finally, we got my boy Geordie running Skullfiend Tribe. That's the one, baby. That's the one. Yeah, that's what I want everyone to play. I just want everyone in 2023 to just wake up and play Skullfiend Tribes, because this is the one. All right. Yeah, I think the hero loadout you're kind of used to. It's a million priests and a Bloodthirster. Okay, and yeah, it looks like it's more than 6 heroes, but it's not. It's just because he has a prayer enhancement, and he has Scar Bloodwrath, and then 20 Blood Warriors, 10 Blood Reavers, 10 Blood Reavers, 5 Wrathmongers, Garruk's Reavers, and Magor's Fiends. Yeah, nice. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily the strongest application of Skullfiend Tribe, because he still has not a huge amount of units. And Garruk's Reavers and Magor's Fiends have the Gore Tide keyword, so they can't actually use it. But I think it's mainly to justify charging some of the heroes at times, and making sure you can attack with multiple units. Yeah, I like it. This needs to change, so I will highlight this because you can't take it if you also have an artifact. Okay. We'll come back to that. What would I give this team overall? I think an 8 again. Super solid. Yeah. Nice. How are we doing in the chat? Are we hyped for the draw at the end? I'm definitely hyped. I'm going to try to zoom through this, because I don't want this to be 4 hours long like the old ones used to be. I want you guys to kind of get a good snapshot of what's going on, and me not have to sit here for 3 hours, because I want us to do the draw and move on with our lives. So... alcoholics go to meetings. We go to the hero phase. Perhaps the best name in the tournament. I don't know, though. There's some pretty good ones here. Like the next one is a banger. Okay, so we have Sprog, who's running a list I cannot believe fits, but it does, which is basically 3 Magath Lords, the Glotkin, and another hero, and then 3 Beasts of Nurgle. I think this is proper filthy. Nice. Yeah, super solid. Tavi is running He Knights of Slanesh with 2 Epitomes and 1,000,000 Bliss Barb Archers, and then 5 Slick Blades and 5 Bliss Barbs. How far have you fallen, Tavi, that you're running this many Bliss Barb Archers? Didn't you hear? They went up 10 points. They must be bad now. They must be bad, they said. It's horrible, isn't it? This list is horrible, Tavi. It's so good, but it is, you know, it's definitely a castle that can be broken, you know? Like, it's pretty squishy, but it's a lot of output to deal with. Yeah. It's a challenge for people to solve. I like it. Hippie's running Legion of Blood. I'm playing him in another tournament on Tuesday, and this list is really good. It's basically Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, Neferata, Necro. Then we have Direwolves, Skeletons. So 30 Skeletons, 10 Direwolves. 20 Skeletons, 20 Zombies, and 2 units of 3 Fellbats to do side missions. It's good. I don't know why we have this. Let's get rid of that. We have an artifact from the past. Okay, but solid. Alright, Sukarth is running Gits in King's Gits. And we have Letrogs. Yes. It's a lot of Trogs. I like it, man. I think it's really good. It's another one of those things that's going to be difficult to solve. Like, how are you going to kill that many Trogs? Because it's 9/6/6 Trogs. Scragrot, Trog Boss, and then 2 heroes. And then Gobblepalooza. I think it's super solid. And I just want to check that he can legally do the Wizard Finders Battalion. No. So this needs to have a non-wizard hero. So I'm just going to let him know that. Yeah. This is part of me doing this, by the way, is to make sure that all the lists are down pat. Then we have the Wilhelm Scream, Seraphon, okay. And we have Coalesced, so it's not the cheaters who summon 10 Saurus God every turn. It's the honest wargaming. And we have the Agrodon army, okay. So Scarvet on Agrodon, two Starseers. Oh, is it 3 Starseers? Oh my, no, it's 2 Starseers. Okay, that's fair enough. 5 up ward, right? 2 units of 6 Agrodon Lancers, 2 units of 20 Saurus Warriors and Geminids. It's tanky as balls. Tanky as balls. I'm not sure what to say beyond that, but I'm interested to see how it goes. Okay, then we have another Khorne Legend Asura running Unfettered Fury with Firebrand, Halo of Blood, Bloodbind, Curse, Pouch of Null-Dust. We've got another person who's done this. Alright, so just as a PSA, if your list has this, please contact me. So you can't have a Nullstorm, a Domon, and an artifact, okay? So this needs to go on somebody else. So we just need to find out who that is. If you don't contact me, I'll just put it on something, alright? Bloodmaster, Slaughter Priest, Valkyr, Bloodsecrator, Skulltaker. Nice. This guy went down 20 points. He's super solid. Valkyr's always been super good. I'd say maybe like a potential weakness of this list is the 3 prayers. There might be a slight weakness, but in the rest of the list we have Claws of Karanak, 20 Blood Warriors, 10 Blood Reavers, Wrathmongers, Skull Crushers, and Garrix Reavers. And Skulls, which is everywhere. Yes, super solid. I don't know what to give this team. I think a 7. There's some lists there that I'm not so sure because I haven't really seen them play, like the Agrodon and Saurus thing. And there's a few little rules things we need to sort out, but yeah, overall pretty strong. Okay, next we have the Russian team. Now, I have gone and translated this. I think it means something along the lines of we're coming to rescue our boys from Luke. as in Luke Morton. So 2 of the Russian players are on. 3 Russian players are on Luke Morton's team. So this is the unit sent in to save them. So we have the Captain Nikita, who's running Big War, nice, with Gobsprak, nice, and Mega Boss, War Chanter, Weird Knob, Wurgog, okay, and then we have the Wurgog has Master of Magic and Glowing Tattoos. Now there aren't really that many great options in terms of command traits in Big War, so running Master of Magic seems logical to me. Of course, you can't like Primal Dice afterwards, but it's being able to push spells in to force your opponent to use Primal Dice. So when you fail a spell, you can re-roll it, get it off, and then maybe you're going to force your opponent to use a Primal Dice, right? So making sure you get spells through is super helpful, and Master of Magic is a way to do it. 2 units of 15 Ardboys, 5 Ardboys, and 3 units of 3 Auric Gorgrunters and Geminids. Super solid list. I do worry a little bit. It kind of still gets tabled, but that's always been its problem. But I think the 2 units of 15 Ardboys definitely tilts it more towards the durability, and I like that. It's just an interesting approach for sure. I'm interested to see how it goes. We have Reinhardt running KO, and it's still 15 Thunderers and an Ironclad, but you get a lot less now, right? I think, yeah, he's got some 6 Riggers as well, and a Gun Hauler, so you don't have like the 30 Thunderers before. You have like 1 main threat. And he also doesn't have the bridge because that got nerfed, so it's less strong than it was, but I think he won an event with this with the pre-nerf one, so definitely someone to look out for. Okay, Pluxin Alexander is running Blades of Khorne in Bloodlords. Okay, and we have a Bloodmaster, a Slaughter Priest, and we have Scarbrand again. I'm actually curious. Let's just do a little quick Scarbrand count, shall we? 5. That's quite a lot. Considering there's 8 Khorne lists, I think. Perfect number. Of course it's 8 Khorne lists. Why do we ask that? That's quite a lot of Scarbrands, right? Shooting's gone away. Mostly, you're seeing some KO here, but mostly there's not that much shooting, right? We saw some Bliss Barbs from Tavi, but, mostly shooting is much less than it was. So Scarbrand being weak to shooting is stronger in this more combat-oriented meta. And then we have 2 units of 20 Bloodletters and Claws of Karanak and Blood Reavers just to be some chaff, and Bleeding Icon. So I think super strong list, kind of like some standard in some ways, right? Like 2 units of 20 Bloodletters and Bloodlords, but Scarbrand's in there for the extra threat, and all the good normal support pieces in Unfettered Fury. One thing you're going to see a lot is that these Khorne lists have more Slaughter Priests in than they used to. They used to run more Ritualists, but the Ritualists went up 10 points, and the Slaughter Priest having an Unbind is super important now, so yeah, super nice. Okay, we have Igor Kravtsov, who's running Gitz, Jaws of Mork, and we have Squig Boss, Scragrot, Fungoid Cave Shaman with Mommet, Hoarfrost, and okay, let's get rid of that. And then we have 5 Boingrots, 2 units of 24 Squig Herd, 5 Boingrots, and 10 Boingrots. And we have Gobblepalooza and Marshcrawler Sloggoth. So the change here has been like reducing no Squig Herd down, which I'm not sure if I like so much. But 24 still does a lot. But you guys know me, I've never really been a fan of Boingrots, so you're not going to see me advocate for them too much. They're still strong, but I think you kind of see some nerfs here, right, in the points. Like you can see there's a lot less in the list. We have Maxim Terakov is running Soulblight Gravelords. Of course, everyone's got to have their token Soulblight Gravelords player. This one is Verkos, okay, with Necro, Vamplord, Belladamma Volga, Mr. 5-up Ward, 20 zombies, 20 direwolves, 60 zombies, and then Corpse Cart, 2 units of 5 Black Knights, and 20 Graveguard. It's summonable stuff with 5-up Ward. I'm not really sure where the damage is, but I think maybe it's not supposed to do so much damage. There is the Graveguard, but they can only be in 1 point, right? And they're kind of slow, so they do have a slight damage threat, but I think mostly this is about clogging up the board, being a defender, scoring points all the time. winning games that you really shouldn't, all that kind of thing, right? So just being really annoying on the board, clogging out the board, really good on those spread missions, and ultimately giving the question mark of, can you kill this much crap? All right, nice. Seraphon's Fangs of Sotek, Astrolith Bearer Starmaster with the setup from before, Lord Croak, 2 stars, 1 star Seer, 1 star Priest. We have 10 Raptidon charges, 5 Saurus Guard, 10 Skinks, 5 Raptidon Hunters, and then Cogs, Bridge, and Horrorghast. I think Cogs is a little bit strange, but and so is Bridge. What would be being bridged here? There's no. I guess the bridge is probably from coming back with one of the Starseers or one of the priests when you teleport them in. Perhaps it's that. I like seeing Antorian Acolytes, of course. I think maybe there's some notes that could be had here, but I'm not really a Seraphon player, but I can see maybe some points that could be tweaked a bit. Overall, I give this team an 8. I think there's some great lists here, but some of the lists feel like they're a little bit hungover from the previous edition. Yeah. Okay. We have the Banterlord himself is running as Bilbo Dim Suits Mix, which stands for BDSM. Now, I don't know what BDSM is, but if someone wants to tell me in the chat what BDSM stands for, I promise YouTube won't immediately pull up and send you into YouTube jail. All right, you don't need to type in the chat. Okay, so Friday is running Disciples of Tzeentch. Tzeentch is pretty good. This might be the first Tzeentch list that we've actually come across, which is weird to me, because in my head, this is like one of the strongest armies in the game, mainly because of this little war scroll that they decided to drop, which totally changes the way that the army works, which is this Ephilim guy who gives you basically a hero phase teleport for a hero, which is massive when you can chuck, Blizzard into stuff. You can, chuck endless spells into stuff. It gives you a whole dimension of play. So you got Ephilim. I've skipped past some stuff. Curseling, Gorn Summoner, and Kairos. Then we have 10 pinks, 3 Screamers, 10 pinks, and Enlightened, and the Pandemonium that comes along with Ephilim. Now, you see a lot of these lists are Host Arcanum now, because having that free Unbind for when your opponent does spam Primal Dice is super helpful, because, Kairos can unbind stuff well, but if your opponent just stacks Primal Dice, you can't really reach it, right? So, being able to just essentially say no when your opponent spends a bunch of Primal Dice can just totally shut down magic, right? Super nice. Yes. Then we have Sokos, Jorge, who's running Reapers of Vengeance. You're seeing a lot of this, right? Yeah. With Skull Taker. So when Skull Taker kills a hero, he's going to get 3 Blood Tithe. What an absolute Chad. And then we have 3 Priests and a Blood Secretor, 2 units of Fire Flesh Hounds, 20 Bloodletters, 2 Skull Cannons, 3 Blood Crushers, some Furies, Skulls, Bleeding Icon. Lots of variety in this list. And the 2 Strong Anvils with the Bloodletters. Oh, sorry, just one. It's 1 unit Bloodletters, but yeah, Strong Anvil. Okay. I take a drink of water. So, then we have Seraphon. I hope my voice doesn't give out. So, we have Fangs of Sotek. We have Aslan, a Starseer, Croak, Astro, and Star Priest. Then we have 5 Saurus Guard, 10 Warriors. Oh, that's 20 Warriors now, isn't it? Because they're 180 for 10. 3 units of 10 Skinks. And then some endless spells. One moment. Okay. Sorry, my voice is just a little bit bleh. I might have to cut this short at one point if this continues to be a problem. Unfortunately, yeah. Okay, so we have the Maelstrom, Pendulum, and Shackles is what I was saying. But yeah, as I was saying with Seraphon, I can't comment too much on them, but yeah, looks super strong to me. We have Slanesh with Epitome, Bellicor, and then 50 Bliss Barbs. 50 Bliss Barbs. Oh, and then 10 Sick Blades and 5 Bliss Barbs. So the main change that's happened in these Slanesh lists is, you know, they used to take like a keeper or something like ludicrously overcosted because you just have so many points. Now you've trimmed the fat down. We've taken Lord of Pain out. So now we just have Bellicor and the hero we need, and then a bunch of stuff, right? Super solid. Okay, Soul Black Gravelords. We have Legion of Night, Necro, Manfred, Vampire Lord, 4 units of 20 zombies, 9 Fellbats, 10 Direwolves, 9 Fellbats, Corpse Guard, and Banshees. Clearly, Pedro here is the disciple of my Fellbat school of thought. I think this list is super good. The Fellbats, for those who don't know, have 2 damage for some reason now, so they do like super mega damage. Yeah, and they get attacks as they kill stuff, so it really starts to pile up as the game goes. So gives you a way to kill crap as well, right? Because like Soul Black Gravelords, you have the bodies, but you sometimes need to be able to like kill the other bodies that are on the objectives, and they're really good at doing that. So nice, I like that list. And we have Sylvaneth. I think Sylvaneth is amazing this GHB, so more people should run it. I think this is great that this team's got it. We have Archrev, Tree Lord Ancient, Warsong Rev, and then we have 6 Hunters with Great Swords, 2 units of 5 Tree Revenants, and then we have 6 Spite Rider Lancers and Scaths, Wild Hunt, Spitesworn Hive, and Geminids. Okay, so super solid list. Of course, you've seen these bugs have gone down in points. Maybe given that we have the 6 Hunters, I'd like to see the Revenants instead of the Spite Riders, but of course there's points problems with doing that because they're more points, so I understand. But yeah, a super solid list, you know, like always having Spellsinger, just the Warsong Revenant chucking his spell through the woods is great because you can do it out of unbind range still, so super solid. What do I give this team? I don't want to be boring and keep giving stuff an 8, but I had to just give that an 8. Yeah. Okay, we have I think this is Requiem for a Dim. So I'm not sure what the link is between this BDSM team and the Requiem team. Maybe you could come up with your own narrative for that. But yeah, it's 2 Spanish teams, and yeah, they kind of had a history with each other, I guess you could say. And with this one, we have Rudy, who's the captain, who's running Tzeentch. So another Tzeentch list. Seems like Western Europe so far is liking the Tzeentch. Of course, that's never happened before. So we have the Changecaster, Kairos Fate Weaver, the Zangor Shaman, and Ogre Thaumaturge. And we have 10 Acolytes, 10 Horrors, 10 Acolytes, and the Kronspine. Yeah, now Vrady, who's the captain of the other team, was running the Kronspine at Worlds, and I do think it's super strong with Tzeentch. I'm just wondering, yeah, he does have Rupture, I was just making sure. So, he's got a way to make it wild without sacrificing a hero. Super solid. Great list. Okay, Yota is running Archeon in Ravagers. I think this is the second Slaves of Dark, the second and final Slaves of Darkness list, okay? So, this was played by one player at Worlds who was on the Swedish team, who was running Archeon and Splintered Fang, and it's a simple, not simple, a similar list to that, right? So Archeon, and then I think it's 80 Splintered Fang, right? Yeah, that come back for the heroic action from Ravagers, and then 9 Corvus Cabal. So quite difficult to deal with, and I think overall underrated, but not something that's firmly in the meta. You know, this one's a little bit outside the meta. Okay, Blades of Khorne. We have Bloodlords again. Now, as these lists start to kind of repeat a little bit, I am going to kind of glaze over them a little bit, because you're going to see, you know, it's particularly the Blades of Khorne and that kind of thing start to blend together a little bit. But this one has Drom. I'll just point out some features as we go. Drom's an interesting war scroll. It's the warband, which I believe this one you could still buy. It's like the one guy with, I think he's got like the headdress, right? The Amazonian-esque headdress, and there's 2 guys that come with him. One is called the Gore Hulk, and his rules are terrible, but then you have the the Giga Chad that comes with him and has all the rules. So you just remove the Gore Hulk first. But basically, he's a priest with like a line skill shot damage prayer, which can be good for taking out heroes. And yeah, then we have 2 units of 10 Blood Reavers, Blood Letters, 10 Blood Reavers, 2 Skull Cannons, 3 Blood Crushers, 5 Garrus Reavers, and the aforementioned Gore Chosen of Drom, and then some invocations. Again, you know, maybe there could be some tweaking here, but nice. Ogre Maw Tribes, we have Huskard and Stonehorn, Frostlord and Stonehorn, and a Firebelly. I like the Firebelly. Nice. And then we have, that should be 6 more. If only you could take 8, my friend. If only you could take 8. 6 is interesting. The 6, right, you used to have to obviously do that, to have 2 within 1 inch coherency thing, but now, you know, they can all just like line up in a line, so I think it's way better. I actually want to try this. This looks super interesting. Then we have 2 Mournfang Stonehorn Beast Riders. So basically, it's kind of a buff up and send sort of list. Because we got the Huskard on Stonehorn to give them +1 to wound. We've got the Keening Gale to give them +3 move. Yeah, you can put them a Hoarfrost, so the Gargant Hackers hit on 2s instead of 4s, right? It's kind of a buff up and send list, so that they can have like Gargant Hackers being on 2s and 2s. Maybe I'd like a way to get the Slaughtermaster in there with the Blood Feast as well to give them +1 attack, but of course you can't have everything. But yeah, super solid, nice, and creative as well. I like to see it. Ossiarch Bone Reapers, we got Catacross, Bone Shaper, 5 Death Riders, 6 Immortus Guard, 5 Death Riders, 3 Immortus Guard, and 3 Stalkers. Yeah, I think looks pretty similar to the ones from before. I don't think there's too much to say here. I guess just as a general note with the Ossiarchs, you know, you're seeing the list become more MSU, because it used to be that maybe you'd run like 2 units of 6 Immortus Guard when the new book came out, but now you're seeing, you know, more units be taken to solve the new battle tactics that have been presented, because the OBR battle tactics are for the most part not very good. So you do need to be able to do, you know, surround and destroy, or, you know, intimidate the invaders, get out of your territory, or, you know, charge with a hero and a unit, stuff like that, right? So you need to be able to do those battle tactics. So that's why you're seeing, you know, 1, 6 Anvil, and then mostly MSU. Okay, then we have Slanesh, Bellicor Shard Speaker, Contorted Epitome, and a bunch of archers. And 2 units of 5 Slick Blades. We know what that does. It's good. I give this team 7 out of 10, I think. There's some optimizations that can be made here. Okay, according to captain of the Scottish team this year, Mr. Nathan Watson, this is it's a dead game. Yeah. If it's a dead game, then why are you a captain at Worlds then? Checkmate, I guess. No, we actually we played the Scottish team at Worlds this year, so it was stop doing the Chad voice. It's bad for the throat. You know, actually, I'm just going to take a little side note here. It's true that in a way, this is not a real voice, but you know, like when you grow up, right, and you're trying to seem cool, and you just make like your voice lower, right? It becomes like impossible to change it after a certain point, and this just becomes your natural speaking voice. So this is my natural speaking voice. I speak like this, but when I speak Japanese, which happens in my daily life, right, I speak way higher than this. Like a good, I would say 7 semitones higher than this. So when I speak Japanese, my voice doesn't get tired, but I didn't know how to translate that back to my English speaking voice because I'm so set in my ways. So yeah, my voice does get tired if I speak for super long, but we're going to push through because we're going to look at a Sons of Behemoth list. Now, Nathan is a legend for running this because I think that in a team's event, this can be good. Okay? And there's been a new arrival on the scene, which is the Rabble Rouser and his Braggots Bottle Snatchers. There's no way that's the name of the warband. Are they're literally like stealing the pipe from your hand? Is that what they're doing? I guess so. So the Rabble Rouser he and his bats must be on search for a vial which like contains the cure for coronavirus or something. I don't. What is bottle snatchers? Okay, I'm gonna need to do a little bit of a lore search up on that one. Yeah, the bottle snatchers. What bottle are they snatching? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? I'm gonna go with my narrative of they're trying to find a cure for coronavirus because the rabble rousers bats have been infected with it. And this, I don't know. We got to come up with a better narrative for that. Anyway, we have we're in Stomper Tribe. We have a War Stomper with the Monstrously Tough and Club with the First Oak. I believe that is the combo where he's going to get like a 5-up ward for the last 15 wounds that he has, which is nice. The Kraken Eater to make the feet attack better, the extra Callous Feet artifact, and then we have King Brod and the aforementioned Rabble Rouser, and we also have Malevolent Maelstrom. Yeah, because the Gobblepalooza are a wizard, of course, so you can take an endless spell. Nice. Yeah, now the reason why this warband's really helpful is because basically it lets you do battle tactics where otherwise they would be difficult. They're an outflanking unit, but they actually come on at the start of the hero phase, so you can bring them on first and then do Surround and Destroy, so there's some tech there for sure. Okay, JP's list is absolutely horrible. This is horrific. This is, guys, I let vomited a little bit in my mouth when I read this before. This is, 2 Archregents. So they both summon 20 Beast Flayers. We have 2 Ghoul Kings, so they summon 10 Beast Flayers. The Kip Ghast Courtiers bring back Beast Flayers. And then we have 2 units of 30 Ghouls, and then 6 units of 10 Ghouls. So, that's a lot of shit. And we have the Chalice to bring it all back when you do wounds / take damage, and the Barricade because it's 20 points, right? And everything in the Greedy Battalions and 14 drops. That list is really good. Yeah. We have Craig who's running Soulblight Gravelords. Yeah. Who has Nagash. I think this is the first Nagash, which I'm kind of surprised that we're this far through and we've only seen one Nagash now. But yeah, you'll see Nagash around the place. We're going to do a quick tabs on Nagash. We have 2. Okay, so that's definitely less than I was expecting, you know. You're expecting a bit more. Yeah. I'm interested by that. Yeah, maybe you guys have some thoughts in the chat about that. I was expecting to see more Nagash in this meta, but, you know, maybe I think people just wanted to run... I guess people probably want to run Soulblight Gravelords with Soulblight Gravelords units instead of having this, you know, Nagash ally in. But, yeah, Nagash and Zombies is super nice, and that's kind of the archetype here. So, Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon with, what are we in? We're in Blood, right? Okay. So, the Ethereal thing, which is the Cloak of Mist and Shadows, and then the Tailored Downfall. So, I think he picks a hero, and then if he's within 3, they get Strike Last. And then we have Nagash, 60 Zombies, 20 Skeletons, and Spell Portal. Nice. We have Unta, who's running Maggotkin of Nurgle with a Lord of Affliction, Sloppity Piper, and a Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury. What is that doing in there? I guess it's the -1 to hit aura. That's purely cooking there. That is... that is interesting. Okay, we have 6 Plague Drones, 4 units of 3 Plague Drones, and 3 Nurglings. Oh man, that's that Bloodthirst is just proper throwing me here. I know it's a -1 to hit aura, but that seems quite expensive to me. Have to see how it goes, I guess. Stunty Mike, who's running Big War, and Big War. Now the Gobstrackers in general is nice because you get access to the Cruel Boys battle tactic to do like 10 wounds and not take less than 10 wounds. So you now have basically 4 free battle tactics in Big War. So the 2 new ones, that one, and then the one where you just get War points. So you just need to figure out how to do one other one. So you're pretty much guaranteed to get 5 battle tactics with Big War now. And we've kind of spoken about the rest of the list before, but the 10 Brutes is the big difference here. I'm not so sure about Brutes. I actually bought 5 the other day, but in my head, still Ard Boys are probably better. Yeah. For the points. I don't know. I could be wrong there, but it's one of those units. 4-inch move hammer. I know they have teleports and ways to mighty destroyers, but I'm still not entirely sold on brutes. They've gone down so many times now, though, that they've got to be good now, right? You know. Okay, then we have Maxors running Sylvaneth with Drycha, Durthu, Ancient, Warsong Rev, Battle Mage, and then we have Dryads and 2 Tree Lords. So, yeah, I think this is kind of like the fairly classic Oak and Brow list that was been running last season. I don't think much has changed to make it worse. I think it's still super solid. Yeah, what would I give this team? I'd say probably probably a 6. There's some lists here that I think could do with some touch-ups for sure. But there's also some really strong ones in here. Okay, we have. I'm assuming this is polished or polished. Let's say polished. Okay, whose captain is Tamaz, and Tamaz is running Soulblight Gravelords, Vamplord, Necro, and then Manfred, and then zombies. We've talked about these now. You can peruse at your own time. There's the link in the description. But yeah, it's a strong list. Okay, we have KO again. You know, we've kind of talked about this, but there's some problems to solve here. You know, I like the Navi being back in there. I think there was some Navis missing before. Navi's amazing. But yeah, you have way less now, so that's the problem to solve. And you're seeing these units of 6 riggers, and I'm assuming... Oh, we don't have an assault boat. Okay, well, I guess they're going in Ironclad, but still, yeah. Strong list, but some problems to solve there. Yeah, I think basically, like, you know, when Caranon first came out, there was some more mixed lists being explored, and then you just took all Thunderers, so it's nice to see these mixed lists come back. Okay. Then, we have, Bloodthirster ally at Tier K to be on the toilet. Yes, so perhaps literally a shit idea. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. We have Oceart Bone Reapers. Yes. In Null Myriad. So again, I think we can skip this one, but this one has 15 Immortus Guard. Okay, then we have Lumineth Realm Lords with Teclis, Cathalar, some Wardens, and Dawn Riders. And we have a Spirit of the Mountain. Do we have Altharion? We do. Okay, so this is quite similar to the Danish Worlds list. I think it's quite a bit worse though now, because Teclis going up and then being able to be Primal Dice, I'd say it's quite a bit worse, but yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. But you'll see, like, you know, these lists have no Sentinels because they just got kind of like nerfed into the sky, so Helon is fully dead and Sentinels are fully dead. Long live cows, I guess. Okay, Blades of Khorne. Unfortunately, as much as I love Khorne, I think from a viewer's perspective, we've kind of done this. Yep. It's basically 40 Bloodletters in Bloodlords. Yeah. And then we have Seraphon. Okay. Coddle's Claw, though. Ooh. Coddle's Claw. Croak, Astro, Starseer. 20 Warriors. Then we have... I think that's 6 Agrodon Lancers, right? Because they come in 3s. 5 Saurus Guard. And then another 6 Agrodons. So, an Agrodon focus this, but we have Croak still in there. So, I just want to see if we have Spell Portal. Yeah, I think Croak here is more of a defensive piece for the magic, and then also a push into the middle and, you know, do damage in a castle kind of list. I think this list makes sense. But, you know, these sorts of lists, it's very much territory that has not been explored, so, yes. We'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, there's a few lists here which, you know, maybe could do with some tweaking. I think we can settle on a 7 for this one, yeah. Okay, we have Team Beatdown, who's led by Paul Wright, and Luke de Levant is running Seraphon in... it doesn't actually say, but I'm assuming this is Starborn. Yep. Yep, we know what it does. It does spells. It doesn't even particularly change from last Battle Tome very much, to be honest. I know the summoning's different in that. Okay, then we have Guild of Summoners with Cromnar. So another Tzeentch list. You love to see it. And this is Guild of Summoners. I just need to take a 20-second break and get something at the door. All right, this is why I need a co-host. I think Luke messaged in the chat. Luke, if you're free, maybe we can tee it up. Yeah. All right. This is all right. This is the interval where I think my voice is gonna run out, and I want us to do the draw before I go to bed. So, okay. How many teams we got? We need to assess how quickly I need to go. We still got a lot. All right. I think from now on, I'm going to look at it a little bit compositionally. Okay, so we're not going to see the fine grain of the list, but of course, if you want to look at a team in specific, okay, we can, yeah, you can look in the description. I'm going to kind of like just go a little bit composition wise. So we have the table of contents up here. Okay, so I was up to team beatdown. Okay. The page, I don't know what's going on with the page numbers here. I think because I'm on continuous, right? But okay, so this is the team comp, right? We have Seraphon, Zinch, Lumineth, Flesh Eater Courts, Ideneth, Deepkin, and Auric Warclans. Now, basically, if I see a list that I want to look at, which in this case is the Deepkin, I'm just going to go there. So, okay, Deepkin. So this is the captains running Deepkin, and you have double Leviathan on here, so you can really see how the points changes have opened up some options here. It's very Timmy though, isn't it? Like, it's a pure Timmy list. Now, we've seen the Nurgle list though, and I was saying that was a strong list, right? So, given that this is a strong list, you would expect, given the Nurgle was a strong list, you'd expect this to be a strong list as well, right? Well, I think Ideneth, the ward saves aren't there as much, right? With, Nurgle, you got the 5-up ward here. You're kind of relying on armor saves. So as soon as those Leviathan takes a massive brand, they're quite easy to kill, in my experience. So, I'm not sure how this one is going to go, but we'll see, I guess. I wanted to check the fact list as well. We have 3 units of 20 ghouls and some more summon stuff. So yeah, you can see again, right? The general trend is you have ghouls and then you summon some beast flayers. Some people have beast flayers in the list, but that's the idea. We have Auric Warclans, and we got some more cooking here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this one's actually Cruel Boys. I think this is the only Cruel Boys one. I actually, when I was reading through before, I must have missed this because I thought they were all big wild. But okay, this one is actually Cruel Boys. So we deep dive this one, alright? We have Killer Boss on Corpse Ripper Vulture, who has the weird uncommand trait, and then we have the Snatcher Boss on Sludge Raker Beast. That's the one that basically makes you do extra mortals on 6s. And he has Fast Stun, and then we have Gobsprak and 2 Swamp Caller Shamans. Yes. And then 3 units of Gut Rippers, and then 6 Bolt Boys, 10 Hobgrots, and 1 Marsh Crawler Sloggot. So this is, in a way, a more melee-oriented list. I think basically it's fair enough to say I want to give up on doing heaps of damage with shooting. I guess I would just like to see some big units of Gut Rippers, personally. I think this one is, it looks a little bit light on bodies to me. We'll have to see, I guess. Okay. I think... Yeah. I think maybe we can give this one a 6 as well, yeah. Okay, so then we have we have a French team. Of course, we all know what this means. I appreciate the offer, but... unfortunately, my one and only lover will always be Orcman, so you're going to have to fight him first. we have... He says he'll do it for a kiss. So Luke, he says he'll come on the call for a kiss. Well, Luke, as I was saying before, we don't have teleport technology yet. So how am I going to get there, mate? You're gonna have to cast your umbral spell portal and put your little face through it, and then maybe we can sort it out, you know. But spell portal's been nerfed, you know. It's a different world we're in. It's a different world we're in. But Slanesh is still good. Now, one thing that's interesting about Slanesh, and spoiler, my team has this as well, is this little Enrapturous chick, right? Who has like one of the worst war scrolls in the game, but actually in this season is amazing because basically she stops your opponent from using primal dice as long as the original casting roll is successful. At least that's how we're playing it for this tournament. So super solid for shutting down magic. And it's Godseeker's list, so you can pick D3 units to move D6 at the start of the battle round. And we have Keeper of Secrets, Enrapturous, Sigvold, Epitome, Oscolian, and then we have 10 Bliss Barbs, 5 Seekers. So not Slickblade Seekers, but just regular Seekers. A very Hero Hammer list, for sure. Yeah... I think there's some tweaks that could be made here, but I like the exploration of Godseekers for sure. Okay. We have Blades of Khorne with the legend and another legend. Korgus Cole. He now cannot be shot off the table immediately, and I very much appreciate that because Korgus Cole is a little bit vulnerable to shooting. Because, you know, I think he's 7 wounds, right? 7 wounds, 3 up save, no ward, so shooting, and also magic actually is a bit of a problem for him. Alright, but we have Korgus Cole, Valkyr, Exalted Deathbringer, okay, Slaughtermaster, a Skullmaster, jeez, this is cooking, and a Slaughter Priest, 10 Blood Reavers, 10 Claws of Karanak, 10 Blood Reavers, 10 Blood Reavers, 10 Blood Reavers, 5 Flesh Hounds, 3 Blood Crushers, 3 Blood Crushers, and 10 Warriors. This man, and Karanak, this man is truly cooking in the MSU meta. He's also Gore-Tied, despite running Blood Crushers. This is well and truly cooking here. Yeah, wow. I just wanted to check this Pouch of Naldus thing, but that looks okay. Yeah, what do I say about this? I would say for this kind of list with Khorne, the Murderlust nerf hurts a lot, this MSU sort of build. So I think that this was probably stronger before that nerf. And that would be my concern with running this kind of list. You know, I'm going more towards running big units of Khorne at the moment because the MSU thing was really got nerfed with the Murderlust nerf. The Murderlust nerf was now you have to spend 1 blood tithe for every time you move, basically, instead of just 1 blood tithe for 3 guys to move. So it's gotten a bit harder. Yeah. Okay, Garadon is running Seraphon, Saurus Oldblood on Carnosaur, Starseer, Starmaster. Then we have, whoops, where'd my thing go? 10 Saurus Warriors, 6 Agrodon Lancers, 6 Croxagore, 2 units of 10 Skinks, and a Solar Engine. So, again, I'm sorry, I don't know so much about Seraphon, especially Calder's Claw, but you're seeing some more, like, melee, kind of, what would you call these lists? Mid-table brawlers, I guess. You're seeing more of those. So I think they're going to be interesting to see how they're going to go. We have Auric War Clans with Kragnos, and this is actually a Bone Splitters list. So I was wrong again. I thought that we had mostly Big WoW, but actually we have 2 Bone Splitters lists. Holy moly. Bone Splitters. I have not seen Bone Splitters in a very long... I don't think we've had a Bone Splitters that released the beast since, like, I want to say a year and a half ago, like halfway through the first GHB of 3rd edition. So it's been a while. I'm assuming it's Icebone. Yep. Now, what's nice about Bone Splitters now, someone left this a comment on one of my YouTube videos before where, like, Bone Splitters finally get to make 1 unit good with Hoarfrost. And that is actually true. Like, you can make one of these Borbos units well and truly slap now. And that's what he's got, is only Borboys. So, I think this is actually not bad with Kragnos. I'm actually kind of a fan of this. He's definitely cooking. This whole team so far has been a little bit of an adventure, but I think it can be good. And then to cap off an adventure, we have a very boring OCR Bone Rippers list. But you know, this is your 9 to 5 list. You know, this is the day job. This list, yeah, Arcane and Catacross and stuff that doesn't die. Nice. And then we have Ironrack Deepkin with a King, a Tidecaster, a Reavers, and 2 units of 6 Ishland, and 2 units of 2 Alapexes. I mean, it went down in points. I still don't know what it does. I'm just not sure with IDK because the problem that it's got now is it's supposed to be an anti-shooting army, but the shooting is not really in the game, so that big advantage of the army has gone away a bit. So I would challenge whether it's that strong at the moment. Yes. Okay. That team. I guess. Okay. I need to contact for the points total here, because obviously he's gained a bunch of points, but we need to know what it is. This team is well and truly cooking. I think I'm going to give it a 5. Okay, so then we have another French team, which is led by Dante Amadeus, which is Disciples of Tzeentch, and we're doing Host Arcanum with, let's see here. This is an ungodly number of lists to review. Yes, it is. Now, normally I do this with a co-host, Luke, but he hasn't been in the game so much recently, at least, you know, online. So I'm doing this on my own. And also it's kind of last minute. But yes, if you're curious with how many lists this is, I think it's 180 lists. So it is a lot. I'm not expecting that everyone's going to listen to all this, but, you know, maybe while you're making breakfast, it's something to put on in the background. Yes. Anyway. We have Disciples of Tzeentch, Gaunt Summoner, Changecaster, Fate Master, and Lord of Change. I will need to fix this formatting later, but I'm not going to do it now. We have Zangor, Kyrek Acolytes, and Zangor. Okay. Yes. And Zangor and Light. Now, you're going to see a lot of these Tzeentch lists, you have buffs now, okay? You have buffs that you can put on these Zangor. So the Zangor units are suddenly way better than they were before. You know, you can put Hoarfrost on them, send them in, and they can, like, really slap. You can give the Zangors, like, big bonuses to rend. You can give the Enlightened, you know, the ability for the discs to hit on 2s. So, yeah, the ability for these units to do damage now that didn't before has been enabled by this Hoarfrost thing. And you're seeing these lists kind of move away from horrors a little bit, which is nice to see. Then we have Glowing, who's running Skaven. Warbringer, which we've seen in every Skaven list so far. 2 Bombardiers, a Plague Priest, and Thankwall. Then we have 15 Censer Bearers, 20 Clan Rats, 3 units of Jezzails, and a Warp Grinder. I am assuming the Warp Grinder is going to be for the Censer Bearers. So they're going to come down 9 away and hope they roll the 9-inch charge. Yes, I'm assuming that's what it's for. The Jezzails I'm not necessarily sold on. We'll have to see on that one. Okay. Carriage on Overlords. Prime Admiral, Chemist, Navigator. Navigator needs to be in. Thunderers, Gun Hauler. Archanaut Company, and an Ironclad. So, again, you're seeing 15 Thunderers have just kind of been chopped off and sent into the bin. And now you need to find some other stuff to do. So, I think here the addition is mainly the Prime, which is 330 points, right? So, basically the equivalent of 10 Thunderers. So, they've just gone up massively in points. You basically, to make these Thunderers worth it now, you need to buff the absolute heck out of them and put it on one unit. So, you know, your Admiral and your Chemist are going to put the 2 Rand buffs on the Thunderers, and that's going to receive all the buffs, and you kind of play, like, you know, some stuff that doesn't need the buffs. So, like, the Engine Riggers, or you have the Prime here, right? Something like that. Okay, Khorne. We have a Reapers of Vengeance list. I think we can probably skip this one. It has 3 Skull Cannons, so that's pretty cool. Okay, Luminous Realm Lords. We have Cathalar, Caligrave, Teclis, Light of Atharion. You're still going to see this guy everywhere. This guy is really good. Then we have 10 Wardens, 5 Blade Lords, and 5 Dawn Riders. Another 5 Dawn Riders, another 5 Dawn Riders. and we have 3 endless spells. So I think the Dawn Riders went down by 10, which is why you're seeing more of them. And Zytrek kind of leans into the more MSU wizard kind of playstyle, but I'd say Techless is a little bit on the downturn, so I'm less of a fan of Techless. And then we have Slanesh with a Herald on Chariot, Sileski, Contorted Epitome, 10 Archers, a reinforced unit of Chariots, 10 Archers, 5 Seekers, and 2 units of 5 Blade Seekers. Now, I think, you know, like some of you might be hearing me talk about Chariots and mention Chariots and thinking that this army sucks. I think it's a bit harsh. I think this is, like, actually quite a lot better now with the points nerfs. Like, I think probably, you know, I think we can probably say the Bliss Barb lists are maybe a bit stronger, right? The classic list, but this is an interesting creative approach. I think we probably give this list, this team, I think, you know, overall, if we're talking composition wise, I think maybe the defender aspect is a little bit weaker than some of the other teams we've seen so far. There's not a lot of like bodies in these lists, right? You're seeing a lot of kind of techie, magic-y stuff, and shooting, but less bodies, and I think that might be a challenge, considering how many bodies are in, you know, your Soul Blight Gravelords or your Feck, right? So these death factions are really increasing the amount of bodies that are required in the game, right? And that's a challenge to deal with for sure for this team. So I think we can give them a 6. Okay, then we have my team. I'm not going to talk at length about my team, but so first of all, I'm going to give us a rating of 5 out of 10, just because we have Luke Morton as the captain and me on the same team, which I think basically if me and Luke are on the same team doing something, either we're going to create something that's wonderful, or like a natural disaster is going to happen and destroy everything we know and love. So I think, you know, we're going to see what's going to happen here. Like, me and Luke could be cooking, or we could be completely writing the wrong list. Now here, this is a list that we worked on a lot together, which is a Slanesh list. And this looks a bit different to the ones you've seen. And the biggest difference is just the 2 units of 10 Twin Souls, right? This is super good in melee meta. The Twin Souls basically give -1 attack to an enemy unit within 3, and also to all enemy units within 3. And they also have a 5 ward while they're within 3. So they're very tanky against melee threats, but they fall over against shooting, right? Because they're just 2 wounds at a 4-up save each. So it's just 20 wounds at a 4-up save for 280, which is not good. But the fact that they're so tanky in melee is really enabled by the 5-up ward and the -1 attack thing. So what also helps them is Gludos with the -1 to hit aura. So this is kind of a classic anti-melee army. Now, one of the things we found helped against Magic was this in Rapturus, right? Which, again, is kind of enabled by the ruling in this tournament that it can kind of stop Primal Dice, right? So, yeah, this really helps against the Magic list. So, definitely not a very extensively tested list, but interesting to see how it's going to go. Then we have kind of another Soul Blight list that's pretty classic, but this time we have Nagash in it. I guess it's less classic because of that, but yeah, Legion of Night because of the teleporting factor, right? And then you can teleport in a Vampire Lord and, you know, send a, you know, Pendulum, Maelstrom, and Umbral Spell Portal in. So Spell Portal, put Nagash's Hand of Dust in 4-up killer model, and then usually the Maelstrom will go through the Spell Portal as well, and then the Vampire Lord will, depending on whether he's got 2 spells or not, because if you're going second, he's going to have 2 spells. If he's got 1, I guess he does Blizzard. If he's got 2, he's going to do Blizzard and Pendulum. Yep. Okay. Then we have, like, a kind of another one of these buff up and send Zinch lists, where we got, like, the 6 in Light, and they're going to receive the Hoarfrost, and then we've got something else you could put in Blizzard. So, Toby's put in the Ogroid with Cult Demagogue, so he can basically cast Blizzard on, like, for example, a double 2 on the Destiny dice. So you can get 46 mortals for doing double 2, and you can teleport him in the hero phase with Ephelim, right? So you get to teleport 46 mortal wounds. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Yeah. Oh, shout out to Nick in the chat. That's lovely. I really appreciate that. Yeah. This can be hard for me sometimes to kind of, like, know how to pitch it, but I appreciate that you're finding it useful. Okay, then we got my list. I'm running Feck with 1,000,000 bodies. Now, I have 9 horrors in here with the new war score because I want to do some damage, alright? I don't want to be, like, making 6 cups of tea, like, stressing to deal with the clock. If you ask me, Stuart, would running 80 Beast Slayers probably be better than running 9 horrors? Yeah, probably, but I don't want to be there all day, okay? So the horrors can do some damage in the middle, and I think are really super solid, and then we can still summon 50 Beast Slayers, so I'm still going to have 90. I'm just not going to have 130, okay? Yeah. Phillips running Osiarchs with basically Arcan, Bone Shaper, and 6 Immortus, 2 5s of Death Riders, and the more or less RK. So you still got the MSU element, but this one's also got, you know, the 2 Anvils of Immortus Guard. So I think this is a really well refined list, this one. And then we have Drakon Vlad, who went 5 at Worlds with basically the same list. It's 30 Blood Warriors and all the buff pieces, but the difference here from his Worlds list is he has Scarbrand instead of Bellicor. So what I was saying before, right? Scarbrand in the melee meta is way stronger. Yeah. Okay. I believe we have 5 teams, okay? And then we can move on to the draw. I'm going to zip through this because I'm trying to get this done before 12:30 here. So, alright. Apologies to the people who found themselves at the end, but we're going to kind of zoom through this. So, we have... I just made this bigger. Juicy Jankers with Khorne, Skaven, Caradron Overlords, Soulblight, Seraphon, and Ogres. So I think of those, you know, like they... The one that's really cooking, I remember, was the Skaven one, right? Yeah, so Feeth is running Skaven with Plague Priest, 3 Greyseers. I think Greyseers are amazing in this GHB. Engineer, Deceiver, 2 units of 20 Clan Rats, 5 Gutter Runners, 10 Sensor Bearers, 5 Gutter Runners, and 2 Warp Lightning Cannons. Some interesting stuff going in here, but I just kind of wanted to show what the Skaven list was. Yeah, KO, I think, yeah, this one, a similar thing, right? Leaning into the Engine Riggers. There's some other interesting stuff going on here. And the Ogres list is Stonehorns. I think you get 1 less now, right? After the points nerfs, because they went up, I want to say 20 points, so you get 1 less, but you put in... a Slaughtermaster and run a Thunder Tusk now. So you've lost 1 Mammoth, which makes it weaker for sure. Yeah, I don't necessarily feel super great about giving ratings when I don't read the lists in detail. But from a very high level thing, which is team comp, we want to make sure we have a defender, so someone we can put down blind. We can see that with the Soulblight. Yeah, the Soulblight list definitely has enough to withstand that, so that's nice. And a good mix of ranged attack and melee here. So yeah, nice. Then we can give a solid 7 here. Okay, so then we have the Wales team. So I believe Matt Mello was telling me that he's going to do the pairings for this. I don't understand, but he's working on a boat. So anyway, this is the Wales team. Now, I'm not on the team. I thought I was, because in the list sub, they said, yeah, they said Stu's on the team, and I actually met Stu at Worlds, and I forgot there was another person in the world called Stuart, because, you know, believe it or not, there's actually not that many Stuarts in the world, especially now. I feel like when I grew up, there were more Stuarts in the world, but I don't know. I've never met a Stuart in Japan anyway. Shout out to all the Stuarts in the chat. I hope there's a Stuart in the chat, you know. We're a dying breed, apparently. But yeah, we got Beasts of Chaos. This is a bunch of Bulgors. I remember looking at this. Nice. Ogre Moor Tribes with Stonehorns. Nice. Great guy, great list. And then we have Disciples of Zinch with 2 Curselings, Kairos, Horrors, Kyrex, and 2 Cockatrices. I think maybe this one, you know, we'd like to have a... Yeah, I think we'd like to have a buff and send thing. You know, like what I was saying before, how Hoarfrost is really great for Zinch because we can buff in these like lower value units and then send them in and get value in melee, like which you couldn't used to. You used to not be able to do, right? Do damage in melee with Zinch. They used to be something that's quite difficult, but now it's doable. I think we probably should lean into that a bit more, in my opinion. But most important thing, right? 61, 9 wounds, nice. Okay, Soul Black Gravelords, Legion of Blood, Zombie Dragon Neferata, Vampire Lord, 3 units of skeletons, and then 15 Blood Knights. I think the Blood Knights are like maybe a little bit expensive now that the Cloak of the Dark Mist spell doesn't let them use Mystic Shield. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that, but yeah, I would be maybe a bit concerned about that. And also, I think skeletons in general are a little bit expensive to run as just 10s. I think zombies, I think, are only 20 or 30 points more, so I probably would just run zombies or direwolves, yeah. Then, Dave, we have Ossiarch Bone Reapers with the same list that we've seen about 15 times now. Moving on. Is it no? It's Null Myriad, right? Okay, yeah. Null Myriad. And then you pick Catacross or Arcan or both, and then Stalkers and Immortus Guard and some stuff to do battle tactics. Okay, but I would be remiss to not mention the Owen Jackson, who is playing in this tournament. Of course, a legend who has worn many hats and capes over the years. He's playing Khorne. Now, some of you might be tempted to say that Owen is just like a little bit of a Khorne tourist. Of course, when Gitz came out, we talked about Gitz tourists, right? But I don't think Owen is a Khorne tourist, because Owen has been playing Khorne for absolutely ages, man. Like way longer than I have. And here he has Unfettered Fury, a Boomthirster, 3 Priests, and Bellicor. So a kind of a Hero Hammer oriented build, which is actually classically what Khorne used to be, right? With the Bloodthirsters. And we have Reapers of Vengeance, and then some chaff. Okay, nice. Yeah, I think this team, you know, there's some tweaks that can be made in some of these lists. But yeah, I think it's overall pretty strong. I think we can go with the 7 here. Okay, so Team Blue Lock is being led by Captain Lance Tan, who's called Corgol from the Philippines. We've been in contact a lot recently. Shout out to Lance. This team is slightly Frankenstein together. Like, we've got a little contingent from the Philippines, and then a contingent from I believe Finland with Pete Moo and Antu, and then Orkman. I don't know how he's finding himself on this team, but Orkman's just doing his world tour, right? He's playing in Hungary, and then he's playing in Austria, and then he's playing in Australia on the Australian team, and then he's playing with Americans. Orkman's just doing his world tour. He's assembling the clan for Auric War Clans Book 4. I'm interested to see what he's going to come out with. And okay, so Corgol's running Bloodlords with we have Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, Slaughter Priest, Bloodsecrator, Bloodmaster, and Scarbrand and Bloodmaster. And then we have 20 Bloodletters, 10 Bloodletters, 2 units of 5 Flesh Hounds, the Skulls, and Bleeding Icon. I played him before with Reapers of Vengeance, so I'm interested what the shift is away from Bloodlords here. I'd love to talk to him about that. I suspect it's because he thinks that the whole thing with like uniques not being able to be shot, and overall the meta slightly shifting away from taking heaps of heroes. He thinks there's going to be less value in that, and ultimately I do think with Khorne it's still kind of hard to like get heroes, so it's a nice bonus, but I still think Reapers of Vengeance is good though, because there's all these like there's heaps of other Scarbrands, right, and there's heaps of Arcans and these kind of like big wizard heroes, right. That's why I think the Wizard Hunters Battalion looks like terrible, but actually it's quite good in a meta where people running Nagash, where people are running Alariel, or there's heaps of like big wizard heroes. I mean, we saw that Nurgle list before that had like Glockkin, and then Blow Up is another like wizard hero, right, who's quite tough to kill, and the +1 attack might help. So yeah, I definitely see the value in Bloodlords, right, like getting the big damage down with Bloodletters, and particularly in a matchup against like Ossiarch Bone Reapers, where you really need to kill 6 Immortus Guard ASAP and not have the unit heal back to full again. Then some like a 1-2 hit with like the Bloodmaster, who lets the Bloodletters hit, and then the Scarbrand can go next, because the Bloodmaster artifact gives him strikes first. He can go with the Bloodletters, and that can be at the start of the combat phase, and then Scarbrand can then go in. So you can have like 2 activations. That's super nice, yeah. Alright. Just checking Null Storm at Dynamos. Then we have Lumineth with Techless. I think Techless is interesting as like a magic defense. I know I was kind of talking him down a bit before, but I think the Sentinels, I'm less of a fan of after the nerf. I don't think they're super strong now. Antu's running Null Myriad. I think very similar to Phil's list from my team, but has Catacross instead of Arcan. But yeah, super nice looking list. Pete's running Seraphon in Cold's Claw with Aggrodons. This looks like it might be... It looks like a trend to me that this is what people are going towards, but again, looks interesting. Orcman's running Big Wa. I love this list, but Orcman and I will always disagree on whether we should be high drop or not. He's 2 drop. I think this list is better as a million drops with all the battalions, but maybe I'm being greedy. I think this list is really good, and he's in the right hands. It's in the right hands. He's going to absolutely smash it with this list. The stabbers are a nice inclusion, because having like just a screen in an army that doesn't have access to screens is nice. Yeah, good list. And Swordhaven here is running Stonehorns. I think is still really good. Obviously, there's some points that have gone up here, but I think this sort of shift towards the double Frostlight on Stonehorn makes sense to me when the Stonehorn Beast Riders have gone up. Yeah, there's a couple tweaks that could be made here. I think this team is deserving of at least of a 7 for some of the really strong lists in here. But yeah, maybe this like Lumineth one. I'm interested to see how that goes now with the nerfs that have come in and stuff, right? Yeah. Okay, then we have Miscasters Anonymous with Captain Prussian Warfare, and with a spare player Tyler Bushley, and we have Ramrod, who's running Soulblight Gravelords with again, you're seeing Zombie Dragon in Legion of Blood with Vampire Lord and Neferata. We've kind of seen this before. We have Prussian Warfare, who's running Null Myriad. Obviously, our Bone Reapers. Again, we've kind of seen this before. We have... I think... Is this AOS Reminders? I was trying to work out what this list submission format is, but Big Time Sid's running Hedonites of Slanesh with Pretenders, with Gludos, Lord of Pain, Epitome, and Shard Speaker. 33 Bliss Barbs, 5 Sickbait Seekers, 5 Seekers, and 5 Twin Souls. I think this list probably has too many heroes. It would be one thing that I would say, because, you know, Slanesh, you don't get too much for running multiple heroes, especially in like Pretenders, right? You kind of oriented around one general, and you want to make sure that you have enough stuff on the board that's going to benefit from the stacking depravity buffs that you get as the game goes on. Okay, now from here on, there seems to be a story that's going on here. So first of all, we have Fish, who's running Stormcast Eternals, and Rhino stole his Tempesters. We'll come back to that. And Scions of the Storm, and we have Incantor, Castellan, Relic to Draconis, 2 units of 5 Liberators, 5 Judicators with Boltstorm crossbows, 3 Vanguard Raptors with Long Strike crossbows. I haven't seen Stormcast in so long, I'm honestly not sure what to say about this, but I think it does look a little bit light on the board. Oh no, okay, well that's why I've missed I've missed the dragons. There's 4 dragons in here. Okay, so it's dragons with some shooting threats. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, and I'm assuming he's gone Overshadow. Yeah, okay, yeah, so that makes sense to me, now that I've seen that. Okay, Zalin, who said, what did I sign up for? What is this team? Fighting over Tempesters. I can understand the concern. We got another coalesced here with Coddle's Claw. You're seeing, you know, 6 Agrodon Lancers, 6 Croxagors, 20 Saurus Warriors. Those are the sorts of units we're seeing, right? The Stegodon, I think this is the only Stegodon in the tournament. Stegodon check. Yeah. He's the only legend that's running a Stegodon. And we got a Bastillodon with Solar Engine. Then we have the bastard that stole the Tempesters, who's running Tempest Eyes. You know, I feel like if you're running Tempest Eye, you kind of deserve the Tempesters, right? I mean, it's in the name, you know? So I think, you know, I think it's right that he got them. So, a Hurricane and Battle Mage Sorceress, 30 Executioners, big unit, 2 units of 9 Dread Spears, 10 Flagellants, and then 2 units of Dracothian Guard, Tempesters Reinforce. It's a very tanky list, you know, you get +1 save, turn 1. with 10%, and you get some extra speed. Yes, this is definitely a good send off to the old book that will be going soon. I think overall, I give this team, I think, a 6. There's some tweaks that could happen here for sure. And then lastly, we have Betrayed by Terrell, who's running, who's captained by Liam Burnett Blue, and who's running Slanesh with Gludos, Epitome, 40 for Bliss Barbs, 5 Seekers, and 10 Slick Baits Seekers. Nasty list. Kron is running Zinch with a bunch of heroes, so Kairos, Fluxmaster, Bellacore, 2 Magisters, Curseling, and then 3 units of 10 Kyrix and Endless Spells. Again, I probably would like to see 1 unit you can buff on with Hoarfrost and then send them in. Kieran is running Skaven with 3 Graciers, nice, Warbringer and Plague Priest, and then we have 2 units of 20 Clan Rats, 15 Censer Bearers, 20 Clan Rats, and a Warp Grinder, and an Incarnate. So yeah, this is the Skaven with Incarnate list. One thing that helps is that Vermintide is now 30 points, so basically you can feed this to the Incarnate, and it's quite a cheap way of doing it. And you've also got Rupture, right, to get rid of the to get rid of the bonding on the Kronspine, right? You can send it wild, and there used to not really be a way to do that in Skaven. So I'm interested to see what this Skaven Incarnate can do. Then Marty's running Big Drog Fort Kicker, a Frostod on Stonehorn, a Slaughtermaster, Stonehorn Beast Riders, 2 units of 2 Mournfang Pack, and Thunder Tusk Beast Riders. And then Dan, we have Seraphon with Croak and stuff, and then we have 6 Agrodon Lancers. It's still Starborn though, right? Yeah, Starborn. Okay. And then we have Dave Eddies, who's running Cities of Sigmar with Hallowheart. I love that this is at the end. This is the revival I need. Okay, 2 Sorceresses, Battle Mage, and Krondus. Krondus! He went down again. He must be good, Brett. I don't know. I'm interested to see. But you fit a lot right now because he's got 30 Executioners, 2 units of 10 Dread Spears, and then he's still got 4 Dragons. So you fit a lot in a list now. I think at 520, he's in Hallowheart, I think is probably very much worth it. Yeah, it's an interesting list. Again, I'd probably give this team a 7. Okay, so we have made it through the list review. Congratulations if you have made it this far. The person who says in the chat you can't feed... you can feed an Endless Spell to the Incarnate if it has gone wild, okay? Because then it treats you as enemy units. Alright, so we've made it this far. So now it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Now, I actually haven't really used this software before, but this should make us a tournament draw. Now, there's one thing here. So we have 19 teams. So we're going to have one team here, which is called Frankenstein's Monsters. Okay. Which is going to be the Buy-Buster team, which I'm going to assemble as soon as I get off here. Okay. And that's going to be your round 1 matchup if you if you draw that. So hopefully it's not my team that draws it, because I might have to play it, so that'll be a whole thing. Alright, are we ready? I'm going to zoom in. Enhance. The tournament draw is happening. Can I get a drum roll in the chat? Alright, and here we go. Oh wait, there's a stuffed up. Alright, hold on. It says it's removed dead game from the list. Do we still have a dead game? Alright, we do. Okay. So, we have Betrayed by Terrell versus Miscasters Anonymous. Then we have the Haggis and Hamburgers versus Team Blue Lock. We have Team Onwards versus Chess Clock O'Clock. We have Alcoholics Go to Meetings. We go to the Hero Phase versus Villacush Coucher avec moi. We have Les Adeptes du Gras versus the Fellowship of the Bin. We have Dead Game versus Dragons are just big sheep that dream fire. We have the Save Our Lads from Luke versus... Okay, they have the Buster. Uh-oh, we have Blue Lock twice. Okay, something we'll have to shift there. Uh-oh, we have Blue Lock twice. I'm going to have to fix that. Does that mean I'm missing a team? That probably means I'm missing a team. Okay, I will post the draw in the tournament chat. Okay. For those of you listening back on YouTube, if future Stuart remembers, it will end up in the description. If not, it will be in the Discord. Thank you very much for listening. I have to go sort this out now. But I hope you enjoyed me running through the list. There was a lot of them there, but hopefully you got a good snapshot of the meta, and I will see you next time. Thank you.